Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Okay, here's how this works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema where I have seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about it on my way home. And we're here today to talk tonight to talk about The Thing. Okay, so The Thing, synopsis. They found something in the ice. They found something in the ice, and they, this group in Antarctica finds something in the ice. Something not of this world. And they enlist the help of a, I couldn't tell, it was hard to tell. Some paleobiologist type of person. Somebody used to taking carcasses out of the ice and cutting them up. And bring her out there to find out what the hell it is that they're dealing with. And if you know anything about any of the films that were previously based on the source material, you know what I say when I say hijinks ensue. It's not dead, it's in fact alive and kicking, and it's ready to party. I guess that's good enough. Okay. So here's the thing about The Thing, is that basically a short story called Who Goes There, and was made into a film that really wasn't like the short story at all, called The Thing from Another World. 50s, I guess. Black and white film. Not completely, but very different from the source material. The source material was more like the John Carpenter Thing, which was a kind of remake in the 80s, but more like just going back to the source material. It's almost like, I don't know, in the same way that True Grit, the Coen brothers' True Grit, was indeed, by definition, a remake since a film had already been made, but yet they kind of went back rather than to that screenplay, to the original novel. They kind of did that with the John Carpenter Thing, Kurt Russell, and it really is a great film. Now that's the problem is, you go, our thing is remakes, we say remakes, and we feel hives coming on, right? We feel like we're getting an allergic reaction, we can feel our throat closing up, but when you consider The Thing is a remake, The Thing is one of the films I point to when I say, listen, the law of relative development demands that all films are going to be remade. They don't have to be remade poorly. In fact, if you go back and you watch the original Thing from Another World that we did recently, it's quite a charming little film. Is it terribly frightening? No, but actually when you go back and watch it, there's some really cool bits in it, mostly involving fire and enclosed spaces. So, but the John Carpenter Thing is really a masterwork of science fiction and paranoia. So, not all remakes are bad. So therefore, by definition, you kind of have to give the remake of the good remake a chance. Does that make any sense? So, I mean, the part of the problem that I have with the way they've done it, though, is that they were very nebulous. There was never a feeling from going into the film as to just what the hell are you doing? I've heard prequel / remake. That's how I've heard it described. And I mean, I can see that because just like I've actually never read the original story. But you've got kind of the, you know what I mean when I say, but I'm a scientist type of scientist, like from the original film. So that feels like a nod back to the original film. You've got like a Kurt Russell-esque type of person, which feels like a nod back to the John Carpenter film. And you've got the Kate Lloyd character, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, I think I'm going to say her name right. From Scott Pilgrim. So it feels like a prequel / homage / remake of the first two films, all rolled into one kind of fleshy burrito that throbs, if that makes any sense. And I guess that sort of makes sense if you look at it from the standpoint of the creature in the movies absorbs everything it comes into contact with and turns into kind of like a fleshy burrito, but with more teeth and barbed things that fly out of it. So, I mean, you could look at it that way, but that would be silly. The problem is, you look at the trailer, and the trailer screams remake rather than prequel. So I was a bit confused going into the film as to just what the hell am I in for. But, like I try to do, and I honestly do try to do this with every film, I try to take a deep breath when the movie starts, put my expectations as best as I can at the door, and just let the film take me places. And I honestly was just going at it from the standpoint of there's no connection to the John Carpenter film. They're just doing their own thing. These are I remember seeing the producers of Dawn of the Dead did this. It's not like I watched the remake of Dawn of the Dead and went, oh, well, this is tied to the original Dawn of the Dead. No, I didn't do any of that, so I was willing to give this one a chance. And part of my problem does stem from the trailer, beyond just the trailer confusing me as to what the hell they were up to. It doesn't help, friends, when your first two, are they a human or are they a creature reveal, are in the trailer, okay? You can't give me a red herring when I've seen it in the trailer. Don't put it in the trailer, because then there's no suspense whatsoever, because I know when, I don't know when it's coming, but don't show me the other character who's acting a little stranger and expect me to buy it when I already know it. That's just dumb. And I don't, I understand people go, well, that's why I don't watch trailers. You shouldn't watch trailers. I'm sorry. I like trailers. To me, trailers are part of the experience because trailers are supposed to set you up for the film, even if it's to lead you astray as to what the film's about, which we've talked about before. I don't mind a trailer saying, well, this is going to be A, and it turns out to be B, and B is better than A, where you go, oh man, I was expecting A, I didn't expect B, but B's awesome. So I'm fine with that when it happens. But when you show me A in the trailer, and I know it's A, and you're going, I don't know, is it C? Maybe it's C. And I'm going, I can see A lurking in the background. I know it's A. Anyway, so part of that has to do with the suspense really doesn't kick in for a while. For me, because I've seen the freaking trailer. All right? So that's part of the problem. The other part of the problem is, whereas, the John Carpenter film, and I don't mean to tie it back to the John Carpenter film, but they did it, and we'll get to that in a second, it was a beautiful work of well-executed paranoia, right? I mean, honestly, once it kicked off, you didn't know what was happening. And it was left open as to what was happening pretty much through the entire thing. Here, you had some moments of nice chaos in the standpoint of, oh my God, are you the thing? Are you the thing? What's the thing? You have some of that going on, which takes a while to kick in. When it kicks in, it's actually pretty sweet. However, they decide to go into a direction which just makes it very silly and turns it into a lot of things we've seen before. Now, I understand that you've set your film in 1982 because it's a prequel to the John Carpenter's thing, and maybe you're pretending like this came chronologically, cinema-wise, before that film, so we haven't had, what would that be, 20-some-odd years. No. A lot of years. I'm an English major. Don't expect me to do math. I'm lucky I can drive and talk at the same time. A lot of years between now and then to watch other people execute monster movies. A lot of them borrowing things from John Carpenter's The Thing. Lowercase t on things, by the way. It's very confusing. But my point being is that don't start pulling things out of the toolbox that were old when your film is set. Okay? And I don't want to... I could throw out some examples, but I don't want to because I don't want to spoil anything because they're happening in the bottom third of the film, right? So that would be bad. The other thing that I didn't like was the fact that And again, because they've set this up, I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything by saying it is a prequel to the John Carpenter movie. But that comes across at the end, and they just sort of hammer it home with like a very large mallet and a railroad spike. Completely. I mean, it's just like, in case you're confused as to what we're doing, let's make sure you understand how clever we are in doing this. Whereas if they had just sort of tied it up with a little bow on it and set it there, it would have been fine. You know what I mean? Where you would have been like, oh, I see what you did there. But instead, it's like they tied it up, they put a bow on it, and then they insisted on opening the present for you, and then pulling it out for you and getting it out of the box and putting it together for you. They didn't leave anything to chance. And I really don't like it when filmmakers think I'm stupid. Or at least more stupid than I actually am, right? So, I mean, all of that goes to, yes, if you had like, I know, I've got to do cups. I'm trying to think. My producer is being very good at going, cups. I will get to cups. I can't think. If you had never seen any of the other films, it would have been like a decent video rental thing, right? It would have been decent. But the fact that they went to such lengths to tie it to the second film means that they're tying themselves to what is frankly a better film. And it's sort of, I don't know, a letdown. I mean, it was fine if you had stood it alone on its own, it would have been a lot better. But once you've tied it to the John Carpenter film, it weakens it, especially the way they did it. So, and of course, if you say, well, if you've never seen any other films, and now you have that film, then you're going to need to go watch the John Carpenter film, and then you're going to, if you've never seen it before, go, wow, this is like really awesome. I hope so. If not, please seek psychiatric help. So I mean, that's my thing. They hampered themselves by not doing a full-on remake and going whole hog. Part of the beauty of the John Carpenter's thing was that they went back and took the original idea from the short story and just ran with it in a new and interesting and crazy direction. Whereas this, I think, didn't go far enough in the crazy direction, if that makes any sense. So, what does that mean cup-wise? Cup-wise, it means a cup and a half. I docked it a full half a cup for being so blatant about tying into the Carpenter film at the end, when they could have just left it alone, and we would have all seen how clever they were, and it would have been fine. And I docked it another half a cup because I thought the bottom third just went into La La Land, and I just ceased to be interested. So yeah, I mean, I would say if you are a fan, first of all, if you're a fan of the film, I'm seeing this on a Monday night because I was out of town this weekend and couldn't do the Wayhomer on Friday. Sometimes it just happens like that. So if you are a fan of the film, you've probably already seen it. But if you haven't already seen it and you're wondering, I would say, you know what? Wait and rent it to assuage your curiosity and leave it at that. And it's not, don't fault the cast. I enjoyed the cast. I enjoyed the FX, even though a lot of it was CG, and frankly the practical stuff in the Carpenter one was better because it was more visceral. It felt real. Although there is, a dissection scene which isn't CG. You know it's got to be there, and man, that was pretty nasty. So, I mean, it was just the material, the way they handled the material, and I think they should have just gone farther. They should have given us something new and interesting, rather than being so beholden to the original and trying to tie back to the original. If it had been standalone, I probably would have been happier. So there you go. So that's it. I appreciate everybody for watching these things. If you enjoy them, if you enjoy anything on Need Coffee, there's nothing that, if you want to make Widge smile, one of the things you can do is share stuff on social media, because when traffic starts inexplicably rolling in because somebody shared something and all their friends start sharing it, oh, it fills me with such joy. It replaces caffeine for me now because I have such a high tolerance for caffeine that it almost does no good. I drink espressos to relax so I can go to sleep. So yes, but I have no tolerance level for social media, which means it always makes me smile. So yes, we appreciate that, and please do come check out 32 Days of Halloween, which is still going on, and will be going on through Halloween evening, where we talk about this and lots of other crazy things. So thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.